After walking away from a crash with my boss, she confessed she could hide her feelings any longer. The shuttle shuddered violently, tossing everyone inside like toys in a storm. Sparks flew from the control panel, and the low hum of the engine wavered into harsh metallic groans. Rain or debris, it was hard to tell, slammed against the reinforced viewport, making the cabin feel smaller than it already was. A hand gripped the edge of a console. That hand belonged to Aiden Ray, young engineer and problem solver of the fleet's top terraforming division. His heart pounded in his chest like a drum. He had been on dozens of missions before, but nothing could have prepared him for the chaos of this particular shuttle crash. Beside him, Director Leora Venn, the company's brilliant and normally unflappable boss, braced herself. Her usually calm eyes were wide with tension. Aiden could sense the shock behind them, but he also felt something else, an intensity he hadn't noticed before. Something more personal. "Thrusters are failing," Aiden shouted over the roar. "We're off course." Leora's fingers danced over the controls with practiced precision. "I see it," she replied, her voice calm but sharp. "We can't make it to the station. The nearest safe landing is that moon 50 kilometers from our trajectory." She pointed to a dim, cratered orb appearing through the viewport, half shrouded in mist and shadow. "Brace for impact." Aiden's stomach sank. A 50-kilometer detour in a shuttle with failing thrusters was not ideal. It was terrifying. Yet there was something about Leora's confidence, her cool logic under pressure, that kept him from panicking. Even now, he realized why she had been the director of the company for so long. She didn't just lead, she inspired trust. The shuttle rocked again, the metal groaning under pressure. Lights flickered. Aiden's hands gripped the console so tightly that his knuckles whitened. He tried to remember the safety protocols drilled into him during training, but the words felt distant, almost useless in the moment. "Seat belts," Leora's voice cut through the chaos. "Secure everything, now." They locked themselves into their harnesses. Around them, warning alarms screamed, flashing red across the panels. The shuttle dipped, twisted, and then plummeted toward the moon below. Time slowed. Aiden's mind raced, and yet in the middle of the fear he noticed something odd. Leora's face, illuminated by the flashing lights, showed no panic, only focus and worry. Not for the mission, not for the AI prototype strapped in the rear, but for him. "Don't look down," she said suddenly, as if reading his thoughts. "We survived this together." Aiden nodded, though he couldn't find words. His pulse raced. He wasn't sure if it was adrenaline, fear, or something else entirely, a strange mix of respect and admiration that caught him off guard. The shuttle hit the atmosphere of the moon with a deafening roar. The cabin shook violently, metal screeching as if it were alive and in pain. Instruments shattered, the floor tilted at impossible angles, and the smell of ozone filled the air. Aiden closed his eyes, gripping the harness tighter. He could hear Leora's calm breathing beside him, steady against the chaos. Then came the impact. It was sudden. Everything went white for a moment, then a deafening silence. The shuttle had skidded across the rocky surface of the moon, finally coming to a stop in a cloud of dust. The metal groaned one last time before going still. Aiden opened his eyes slowly. The cabin was tilted at an odd angle, debris scattered everywhere. Sparks crackled along the broken panels, but thankfully the main structure held. Leora was slumped against her harness, breathing heavily but conscious. "Are you okay?" Aiden asked, his voice hoarse. "I'm fine," she replied, though her face was pale. She scanned the cabin quickly. "And you?" Yeah," he said, still shaking. "I think I'm okay." For a few seconds they just looked at each other, the reality of survival sinking in. It was strange, despite the danger, a sense of relief washed over them. They had survived. Against the odds, they had survived. Aiden glanced at the rear of the shuttle, where the AI prototype lay secured in its containment unit. The sleek, compact machine emitted a faint blue glow, unharmed. Its sensors blinked rhythmically, almost as if it were taking in the scene like a living observer. "That's lucky," Aiden muttered, standing carefully and stepping over debris. "If that had been damaged—" "I know," Leora said, rising with surprising agility. Her face softened for a moment, and Aiden caught the tiniest flicker of something personal, something human, behind her professional mask. "We need to get out, assess the landing site, and make sure the shuttle is stable." Aiden nodded. He moved toward the hatch and peered outside. The moon's surface was a desolate landscape of jagged rocks, dust clouds, and cratered plains stretching as far as the eye could see. The weak light of a distant sun painted the terrain in shades of silver and gray. "It's beautiful," he whispered, almost to himself. The words surprised him. He hadn't expected to feel awe in such a moment of disaster. Leora glanced at him, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Humans have a strange way of appreciating beauty in danger," she said quietly. They worked together to stabilize the shuttle. Aiden climbed along the exterior, securing loose panels and checking engines while Leora monitored internal systems. Step by step, the shuttle became safe enough to use as a temporary base. As night fell on the moon, the temperature dropped sharply. Aiden and Leora gathered supplies from the shuttle, food packs, portable heaters, and tools for survival. They set up a small perimeter, the AI prototype quietly humming in the corner. Sitting together near the dim glow of a makeshift heater, the two of them allowed themselves a moment of silence. Neither spoke immediately. The silence was comfortable, a rare thing in the middle of chaos. Finally, Leora broke it. "Aiden, you did well back there." He looked up, surprised. "I did." "Yes," she said, meeting his eyes. "You stayed calm, you thought clearly. Most would have panicked. You're remarkable." Aiden felt warmth spread through him, not from the heater but from her words. "I couldn't have done it without you," he said honestly. "You were incredible." For a moment they shared a quiet understanding. Something unspoken lingered between them, fragile and new, yet undeniable. The crash had changed the dynamic of their relationship. The formal boundaries of employee and director seemed distant now, almost irrelevant against the reality of survival. Above them, the stars shone brighter than Aiden had ever seen. The universe stretched endlessly, mysterious and infinite. And in that vastness, he realized something. Humans were small, fragile, and yet capable of astonishing things. Their resilience, their courage, their ability to adapt, even in the face of disaster, was extraordinary. And now, stranded on this uncharted moon, he and Leora had the chance to prove it. Together. The night grew colder, but their determination grew stronger. The crash was just the beginning. Aiden leaned back against the shuttle, staring at the stars, and whispered to himself, "We'll make it. We have to." Leora, sitting beside him, caught his gaze. For the first time, she allowed a small, honest smile. "Yes," she said softly, "we will." The AI prototype blinked once, as if acknowledging their resolve. Outside, the alien terrain stretched endlessly, full of unknown challenges. But inside that small shelter, two humans had survived the impossible, and in doing so had begun a journey that would test their ingenuity, courage, and perhaps the feelings they could no longer ignore. The next morning, the moon's pale sunlight revealed the full extent of their situation. The landscape stretched endlessly, a mix of jagged rocks, craters, and dust that shimmered faintly under the distant sun. The shuttle, though partially damaged, had survived the crash. It would serve as their shelter for now. Aiden and Leora stepped outside, their boots crunching on the gritty surface. Every step left a mark in the moon dust, a reminder of their smallness in the vast alien world. The silence was profound, broken only by the faint hum of the AI module tucked safely in the shuttle. "We need to find water and shelter points," Leora said, her voice calm but determined. She pulled out a small tablet and began scanning the terrain with the shuttle's sensors. The sensors showed traces of ice beneath the surface near that crater over there. She pointed to a depression several kilometers away. We can't rely on our supply packs for long. Aiden nodded. I can create a small digging tool using the shuttle's spare parts. We can melt ice for water. Leora raised an eyebrow. You really are resourceful, she said, a faint smile playing on her lips. I knew I hired the right person. As they prepared for the trek, the AI module emitted a soft series of beeps. Its lights flickered as if trying to communicate. Aiden crouched beside it. What do you think, buddy? Ready to help us survive? He said with a grin. The AI's sensors swiveled toward him, a faint blue glow pulsing rhythmically. Somehow it felt reassuring, like the machine understood their needs and wanted to help. They set off toward the crater, carrying supplies and tools. The walk was long and exhausting. Every step required careful navigation through jagged rocks, shifting dust, and deep fissures. Yet Aiden couldn't help but feel a strange excitement. The danger, the unknown terrain, it challenged him in ways nothing on Earth ever had. Leora walked beside him, scanning constantly with her tablet. Keep your eyes open, she warned. We don't know what could be hiding in this terrain. Not all life is friendly, even if it doesn't look dangerous. Aiden glanced around, expecting the usual barren rock formations. But then he saw movement, small, glowing creatures scuttling over rocks like tiny living lights. They didn't seem threatening, more curious than anything. He knelt to observe them. They're amazing, he whispered. Life really does find a way. Leora crouched beside him, her eyes reflecting the glow. And we're witnesses to it, she said softly. Humans often forget how incredible it is to just survive alongside life, even in the harshest conditions. As they collected samples and explored the crater, the sun dipped low, stretching shadows across the moon's surface. They found patches of frozen water beneath the rocks. Using makeshift tools, they carefully chipped away the ice, storing it in small containers. It would be enough for now, but they knew it wouldn't last long. Survival required constant adaptation. Looks like we'll need to establish a more permanent setup, Aiden said as they returned to the shuttle. Shelter, water, food. If we're stuck here for longer, we can't just rely on luck. Leora nodded, considering his words. Agreed, but we have each other. That's important too. Her gaze lingered on him, and Aiden felt a subtle warmth in his chest. There was something unspoken between them, growing stronger with each shared challenge. Back at the shuttle, they set up a temporary lab to examine the ice and dust samples. The AI module assisted, scanning and recording data. Aiden marveled at how quickly it adapted to their improvisation. It was almost as if it had a personality, learning from their actions and decisions. You really think humans can handle being so isolated for long? Leora asked quietly, watching Aiden work. He shrugged. We've survived worse. We think, we adapt, we solve problems. That's what makes us, well, us. He paused, glancing at her. Even if the odds are against us, humans find a way. Leora's eyes softened. I suppose you're right, she said, almost to herself. It's remarkable how we keep pushing forward, even when everything seems impossible. Hours passed as they worked, the harsh sunlight giving way to a cold, star-filled night. The moon's sky was unlike anything on Earth, clear, endless, and filled with distant stars that seemed close enough to touch. Aiden found himself staring upward, mesmerized. You're thinking about something, Leora said, sitting beside him. He smiled faintly. I'm thinking about how small we are and yet how capable. Look at us. We survived a shuttle crash, found water, explored unknown terrain, and we're still here, still standing. Leora studied him for a long moment. Then quietly she said, and yet it's not just survival, is it? There's more to it than that. Aiden looked at her, unsure what she meant. Her gaze was fixed on the stars, but there was a vulnerability there he hadn't seen before. There is, he asked cautiously. Yes, she said softly. We survive, but we also care, we connect. That's what makes humans special. Even in the harshest places, we feel, we trust, we love. Aiden blinked, startled. He hadn't expected this. The professional Leora he knew rarely revealed her emotions, but here, under the alien stars, she was different. Honest. Human. Before he could respond, a soft chime interrupted them. The AI module had detected movement nearby. Both of them tensed, ready for anything. The glowing creatures they had seen earlier emerged from the shadows, curious and harmless. The AI recorded their presence, adapting to the new environment. Aiden laughed softly, relieved. See, nothing to worry about. Just curious little things like us, surviving and exploring. Leora smiled, a genuine, unguarded smile. Yes, like us, she echoed. And for the first time, Aiden felt a shift. The bond between them had deepened, forged not just by danger but by shared understanding and trust. Over the next few days, they worked tirelessly. They repaired parts of the shuttle, improved their water collection system, and learned to navigate the treacherous terrain. Each day tested their endurance and intelligence. Every challenge reminded them of humanity's strength, the ability to adapt, to think, to create solutions when none seemed possible. One night, as they sat near a fire they had made from repurposed shuttle fuel, Leora spoke again. Aiden, you've changed my view of humans. Not just your skills, but your determination, your optimism, it's inspiring. Even when things seem hopeless, you find a way. Aiden felt a warmth in his chest, not from the fire but from her words. We're not perfect, he said, but we keep going. That's what makes us extraordinary. She nodded, her gaze distant. Extraordinary, yes, and sometimes extraordinary in ways we don't expect. She hesitated, then added, almost in a whisper, there's something else I've been holding back, something I should have said long ago. Aiden turned to look at her, heart quickening. The air between them felt charged, yet fragile. He didn't know what she would say, but he sensed that whatever it was, it would change everything. Before she could continue, a sudden tremor shook the ground. Dust and small rocks tumbled around them. The AI module beeped urgently, detecting instability in the nearby crater walls. Stay close, Leora commanded, her professional instincts kicking in. Together, they navigated back to the shuttle as small rocks shifted around them. Once inside, they secured the hatch, breathing heavily, hearts pounding, not from fear alone, but from the realization of how quickly their lives could change. Sitting together in the dim light of the shuttle, they allowed themselves a moment of calm. Outside, the moon stretched vast and indifferent. Inside, two humans, stranded and vulnerable, were beginning to understand the true power of their species: intelligence, adaptability, courage, and connection, and perhaps something more. Something unspoken, yet growing stronger with every passing day. The night settled. The stars shone bright and endless above them, and in the quiet, Aiden knew one thing with certainty: whatever challenges awaited, they would face them together. Humanity would endure as it always had, and somehow, he had a feeling their journey had only just begun. The next morning, the pale sunlight of the moon cast long shadows across the rocky landscape. Aiden woke to the soft hum of the AI module and the quiet movements of Leora. She was already checking the shuttle's systems, her expression focused, precise, but calm. Despite the chaos they had endured, she carried herself with a grace that Aiden had always admired. He stretched and rubbed his eyes. "Morning," he said, trying to sound casual. "Morning," Leora replied without looking up. Then she glanced at him, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Sleep well," Aiden nodded. "Better than I expected. After everything, I guess I needed it." They ate breakfast in silence, each lost in thought. Outside, the moon's surface glimmered, revealing new paths and possibilities. The crater where they had found ice was still visible, and the jagged ridges around them hinted at unexplored terrain. The unknown always excited Aiden, but today, something felt different. The quiet between them carried a weight that neither had spoken aloud. After cleaning up, Leora motioned for him to follow. "I want to map more of the area. We need to know what resources we have if we're stuck here for longer." The trek was difficult. The terrain was uneven, littered with rocks and small fissures. Aiden carried the scanning equipment, while Leora monitored their path. They moved in silence, their synchronized steps a small comfort in the strange world around them. Finally, they reached a ridge overlooking a deep valley. The view took Aiden's breath away. Below, patches of ice reflected the sun, glinting like scattered jewels across the dusty gray surface. The valley stretched far beyond, mysterious and inviting. Humans would call this beauty, Aiden said softly, almost to himself. Even in a place so harsh, life and the world still manages to be amazing. Leora stood beside him, her eyes scanning the horizon. It is, she admitted. Then after a pause, she said, it makes you realize survival isn't everything. There's more to life than just staying alive. Aiden turned to look at her. There is, she nodded, her gaze lingering on him for a long moment. I've spent most of my life focused on work, results, efficiency, surviving. But I've learned that connection matters just as much, sometimes more. Aiden felt a strange flutter in his chest. He had always respected Leora, admired her, but hearing her speak like this, honest, vulnerable, stirred something deeper. Connection, he repeated softly. You mean people? She finally looked directly at him, her usual composure softened by emotion. Yes, people. And some people mean more than others. You, Aiden, her voice faltered for just a moment before she gathered herself. You've changed the way I think. Being here, surviving, it's made me realize things I've been hiding for far too long. Aiden's heart pounded. He didn't know what to say. Leora Venn, his boss, brilliant, composed, and always in control, was confessing something personal, something emotional. I don't know what to say, he admitted honestly. You don't need to say anything, she interrupted gently. Just listen. She took a deep breath, and for the first time, Aiden saw her fully human, fully vulnerable. I've been trying to hide it for months, maybe years, but I can't anymore. I care for you more than I should. The words hung in the air, delicate yet powerful. Aiden's mind raced. Every challenge, every moment of survival had brought them closer. And now, in the quiet of this alien moon, that closeness had grown into something undeniable. I care for you too, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Relief, surprise, and joy all mingled in his chest. I didn't know if you felt the same. Leora smiled, a mixture of relief and warmth. I was afraid it would make things complicated, she admitted. But after everything we've faced, survival, challenges, this place, I realized life is too short to hide what matters. For a few moments, they simply stood there watching the valley below. The moon was silent, vast, and endless, yet in that moment, Aiden felt an unusual peace. They had survived a crash, adapted to a strange new world, and discovered something extraordinary, not in technology or strategy, but in each other. The AI module beeped softly, drawing their attention. It had detected unusual energy readings in the valley, signaling something beyond their understanding. Leora's expression shifted instantly, back to her professional demeanor. We need to investigate, she said. Whatever is down there, it could be a resource or it could be danger. Either way, we should check it. Aiden nodded, excitement returning. Even with emotions in the mix, the call of discovery, the drive to adapt and explore, was part of what made humans remarkable. Together, they descended into the valley, careful and alert. As they navigated the icy patches and rocky outcrops, they encountered small alien plants, fragile and glowing, unlike anything on Earth. The AI scanned them, recording data. Aiden carefully collected samples, fascinated by the adaptability of life. Even here, life finds a way, he murmured. Leora glanced at him. And so do humans, she said quietly, almost smiling. We survive, adapt, and even thrive together. The valley opened into a larger clearing. At its center, they discovered a natural ice formation, almost like a crystal palace, catching the weak sunlight and scattering it in 100 directions. The sight was breathtaking. They had survived the crash, discovered life, and now found beauty in a place that seemed impossible to live. This is incredible, Aiden said, awe in his voice. Yes, Leora agreed. And we did it together. She paused, then added softly, I don't just mean survival. I mean everything. Exploration, discovery, and this. She glanced at him, her expression vulnerable but sincere. Aiden took her hand gently. I feel the same, he said. Being here, surviving, and now knowing how you feel, it makes this place unforgettable. They stayed there for a while, side by side, watching the shifting light on the icy landscape. Words were unnecessary. Their connection was understood without them. In a place where survival had been their only goal, they had discovered something far more extraordinary: trust, understanding, and the beginning of love. But their moment of peace was interrupted by the AI module's urgent beeping. It had detected movement, a small group of alien creatures approaching. They were curious, observing from a distance, not aggressive but cautious. Aiden and Leora froze, hearts pounding. Let's stay calm, Leora said. We don't know if they're dangerous. Observation first. Aiden nodded. Right. Humans adapt, remember. Together they watched, quietly assessing the creatures. The aliens were intelligent in their movements, communicating with each other in ways that seemed coordinated. The AI monitored and recorded everything. This is amazing, Aiden whispered. Not just surviving, but encountering intelligent life. This is why humans explore. We adapt, we learn, and we connect. Leora's eyes softened. Yes, and sometimes connection isn't just with other life forms, it's with each other. I think we've learned that too. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the valley in shades of silver and gray, they returned to the shuttle, careful but unafraid. The bond between them had grown stronger, forged not only through survival but through shared discovery, trust, and the courage to be honest about their feelings. That night, as they prepared to sleep, Leora sat beside Aiden. We'll face more challenges, she said quietly. More unknowns, more danger, but we'll do it together, Aiden smiled. Humans survive, adapt, and care. That's what makes us extraordinary. Leora leaned slightly toward him, and for the first time they allowed themselves a closeness that went beyond words. Not just survival, not just discovery, but human connection, deep and real, had become their greatest strength. Outside, the moon's stars shimmered endlessly. Inside, two humans had survived a crash, explored the unknown, and confessed what had been hidden for too long. And somehow, that felt more important than anything else in the universe. They fell asleep side by side, hearts beating in quiet sync, ready to face whatever challenges the alien moon would throw at them next. Morning came slowly on the moon, pale light spilling over the jagged rocks and frozen valleys. Aiden woke first, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, his thoughts already focused on the day ahead. They had survived the crash, discovered water, and even encountered alien life. Yet one thought dominated his mind: how to get off this moon. Leora was already at the shuttle's control console, studying the readouts from the AI module. Good morning, she said without looking up. We need to start planning our escape. Waiting for rescue isn't enough. We have to make ourselves visible. Aiden nodded, joining her. I've been thinking the same, but with our comm system damaged, we'll need something improvised. Maybe a signal using the shuttle's energy cells. That's what I was thinking, Leora replied, eyes focused on the readings. We can amplify a distress signal using the AI module. It's capable of adapting its output to broadcast further than normal systems, but we'll have to build a makeshift antenna using shuttle parts. It won't be easy. Nothing we do ever is, Aiden said, a small smile tugging at his lips. But humans, we adapt. Leora glanced at him, her expression softening. Yes, we do. They set to work immediately. Aiden gathered spare metal rods, wiring, and panels from the shuttle, while Leora recalibrated the AI module to interface with the makeshift transmitter. They worked side by side, their movements coordinated after days of survival and exploration. Hours passed. Every step of the process required careful calculation. Improper wiring or alignment could fry the AI or render the signal useless. Yet they persisted, demonstrating one of humanity's greatest strengths, the ability to combine ingenuity, teamwork, and patience under pressure. As they worked, the AI module pulsed with light, seemingly assessing their progress. Aiden found himself talking aloud, almost as if the machine were a partner, not just a tool. "Almost there," he murmured. "We can do this. Humans always find a way." Leora smiled at him, quietly appreciating his optimism. "Yes," she said softly, "even in impossible situations." Finally, after long hours, the transmitter stood ready. Aiden and Leora stepped back, their hands dirty, clothes dusted with moon dust, faces smeared with sweat, but hearts full of hope. The AI module emitted a low hum, preparing to send the signal. "We have to synchronize with orbiting satellites," Leora explained. "The timing has to be exact or the signal won't reach anyone." Aiden nodded, checking the calculations. "We can do it. The AI will handle the complex part and we'll manage the rest." They activated the transmitter. A brilliant beam of energy shot toward space, powered by the shuttle's remaining energy cells. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the AI module pulsed rapidly, confirming that the signal had been sent. "We did it," Aiden said, relief flooding through him. "Yes," Leora agreed, her voice steady but filled with satisfaction. "But that's only the first step. Now we wait and hope." The waiting was tense. Every noise, every flicker of light outside the shuttle made them both alert. The alien creatures from the valley watched from a distance, curious but harmless. Even in this quiet, the moon was alive with possibilities. As the hours passed, they maintained the transmitter, checking the signal strength and recalibrating when necessary. They shared small talks, jokes, and laughter, finding comfort in each other's company. Their recent emotional confession had brought them closer, and now they moved with a quiet ease, confident in their bond. Then, a warning light flashed on the console. The AI module detected incoming meteor activity, small but fast-moving rocks heading toward the shuttle. "Shields won't hold," Leora said, quickly assessing the situation. "We need to take cover and secure the transmitter." Aiden jumped into action. "We can reinforce it with the panels from the shuttle's hull." They worked together, piling debris and panels to protect the transmitter. The AI module assisted, using its sensors to calculate the safest angles. The meteor struck, rattling the shuttle, but the makeshift shield held. Dust and fragments scattered, but their preparations had saved the system. Breathing heavily, they stepped back and looked at the transmitter. It had survived. The AI confirmed that the signal was still active. Aiden laughed quietly, relief evident. "Humans always find a way," Leora smiled, shaking her head in disbelief. "And sometimes humans survive against odds no one else would dare to try." Days passed. The moon was both friend and challenge. They explored new areas, finding additional ice patches and minor mineral resources. They mapped the valley, recorded alien plant life, and repaired parts of the shuttle. The AI module became a constant companion, learning and adapting, helping them make decisions and optimize survival. Yet the biggest challenge remained: rescue. Every day they watched the sky, hoping a ship would appear. But human ingenuity never faltered. Leora and Aiden devised new ways to enhance the signal, adjusting frequencies, and using reflective ice surfaces as amplifiers. They experimented tirelessly, proving that human problem-solving could rival even advanced alien technology. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, Aiden sat beside Leora, tired but satisfied. "Do you think anyone is picking up the signal?" he asked. Leora didn't answer immediately. She looked at him, her eyes reflecting the pale moonlight. "I hope so," she said softly. "But even if no one comes, we've proven something important. Humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans endure." Aiden nodded. "Yes, and we do it together." Their moment was interrupted by the AI module's urgent beeping. It had detected something unusual, a faint energy signature approaching from orbit. Aiden and Leora froze. Could it be a rescue ship, or something else entirely? Leora's eyes narrowed. Whatever it is, we have to be ready. Stay calm, follow the AI's instructions, and trust in our preparations. The object grew closer, revealing itself as a small spacecraft. It was a search and rescue shuttle, responding to their distress signal. Relief flooded through them, but so did awe. Against impossible odds, humans had survived, adapted, and been noticed. The universe had recognized their ingenuity. As the shuttle landed, Leora and Aiden prepared to leave. They had survived countless challenges, faced unknown terrain, and even communicated across space using nothing but their skills and determination. The AI module's sensors recorded their achievements, proof that humanity could endure in ways that no other species could. Before stepping onto the rescue shuttle, Aiden turned to Leora. "We did it. We survived and proved something incredible." "Yes," Leora agreed, her hand brushing against his. "We proved that humans are extraordinary. Not just in survival, but in courage, intelligence, and connection." The rescue shuttle lifted off, leaving the moon behind. Aiden and Leora looked out the viewport, watching the alien world shrink into the distance. They had survived against odds no one would believe. They had faced danger, explored unknown life, and discovered the strength of human spirit and of each other. As they traveled through space, the bond between them deepened. Their feelings, confessed under the alien stars, had become a source of strength, reminding them that humans are not only remarkable for survival, but also for their capacity to care, connect, and love. The AI module emitted a soft, rhythmic pulse, as if in acknowledgement. It had observed humans at their finest, adaptable, clever, brave, and compassionate. And somehow, even a machine could sense the extraordinary nature of humanity. Leora turned to Aiden, her smile faint but full of warmth. "We'll face new challenges, new worlds, but I know one thing. Whatever comes next, we'll handle it together." Aiden nodded, his heart full. "Humans endure, humans adapt, and we thrive." The stars stretched endlessly ahead, promising new adventures, challenges, and discoveries. Humanity had survived, and their journey was far from over. But for now, they had won. Together, against impossible odds, they had shown the universe what it truly meant to be human. The rescue shuttle cut through the darkness of space, leaving the alien moon far behind. Inside, the hum of engines was steady, calm, and familiar, so unlike the violent crash that had thrown Aiden and Leora into the unknown days ago. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, they were moving toward safety, toward home. Yet the experience of survival and discovery remained vivid in their minds. The moon, with its jagged rocks, hidden ice, and curious alien life, had changed them. They had faced danger together, adapted to a harsh world, and uncovered not just resources, but the remarkable strength of the human spirit. Aiden sat beside Leora, staring out the viewport. Stars stretched endlessly ahead, each one a distant sun, each one a reminder of the universe's infinite possibilities. He felt a quiet awe, an acknowledgement of both the smallness of humans and the enormity of what they had accomplished. "You've been quiet," Leora said softly, her hand brushing against his. "Thinking," Aiden nodded, "about everything we went through, about what humans can do when they have to. We survived a crash, adapted to a strange world, discovered alien life, and even sent a signal across space that brought rescue. It's extraordinary." Leora smiled, a mixture of pride and warmth. "Yes, and not just extraordinary in survival, but in spirit. Humans endure, they create, they care, and sometimes they even inspire." Aiden glanced at her. "You mean us?" "Yes," she said, her voice quiet but certain. "We've proven something important, not only to ourselves but to anyone who might learn of this mission. Humanity is remarkable." The AI module, quietly humming on the console, blinked in agreement. Its sensors had recorded everything: The crash, the ice extraction, the alien life, the meteor threat, and the improvised signal. The module's data would later become evidence of human ingenuity, a testament to what humans could accomplish even in the harshest conditions. For now, though, the moment belonged to them, safe, alive, and aware of the bond that had grown between them. Leora leaned back, her eyes distant as she remembered the crash, the moon's desolate terrain, and the moments of fear and triumph. "Do you remember the first night after the crash?" she asked. "When we were sitting by that makeshift heater?" Aiden smiled faintly. "Yes." "We were exhausted, scared, but determined. And we realized," she continued, "that it wasn't just survival that mattered. It was who we were, how we faced it, and the connection we shared. That made all the difference." Aiden reached for her hand. "It did. I never imagined that surviving a crash on an alien moon would change everything. Not just our mission, but us." She squeezed his hand gently, a soft smile on her lips. "We endured, we adapted, and we discovered something extraordinary, not in technology, but in each other." The shuttle passed through a distant asteroid field, a reminder of how dangerous space could be. Yet Aiden and Leora faced it with calm, confidence, and trust in each other. The experience had taught them that humans could overcome even the most impossible challenges through intelligence, teamwork, and determination. Hours later, the rescue shuttle docked with the mother ship, a massive structure orbiting a nearby planet. Engineers and medics hurried to greet them, surprised and impressed by the condition of the AI module and the shuttle. "They made it," one engineer said, astonished. "After that crash, and with the signal on time, it's incredible." Aiden and Leora exchanged a quiet glance. They had survived, yes, but it wasn't luck. It was human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability that had made the impossible possible. After initial checks and minor repairs, they were escorted to a private observation deck overlooking the planet below. The shuttle from which they had survived now rested in the docking bay, a testament to their resourcefulness. Aiden's gaze swept across the scene, and he felt a deep sense of pride. "We did more than survive," he said softly. "We adapted, we solved problems, we thrived." Leora nodded, "And we showed what humans are capable of. Even in the eyes of the universe, against all odds, humanity shines." The AI module blinked in the corner, its sensors recording the conversation. Its programming allowed it to understand patterns and outcomes, and what it had observed now would inform future missions. Humanity's adaptability, creativity, and courage had been recorded in a machine designed for logic, proving that even technology could recognize human greatness. Later, in private, Aiden and Leora walked along the observation deck, the stars reflecting in their eyes. For the first time since the crash, they could speak freely about the bond that had grown between them. "I never expected this," Aiden said, his voice quiet but sincere. "Surviving together, facing everything, and finding us." Leora smiled, her expression softening. "Life doesn't wait for perfection. Sometimes it throws you into impossible situations and reveals what truly matters: courage, intelligence, and connection." Aiden took a deep breath. "And we have all three. We survived, we adapted, and we care for each other." She stopped walking and looked at him fully. "Yes," she said, her voice strong and steady. "We do, and that makes us extraordinary." Outside the observation deck, the planet below shone with oceans, mountains, and forests, a reminder of home and what humans had fought to protect and explore. The universe was vast, dangerous, and full of unknowns. Yet Aiden and Leora had faced the impossible and triumphed, not through sheer luck, not through force, but through human intelligence, ingenuity, and courage. As they stood side by side, watching the planet turn beneath them, a quiet realization settled between them. Humanity's true strength was not in weapons, not in numbers, and not in technology alone. It was in their ability to adapt, to think, to cooperate, and to care. The AI module emitted a soft series of beeps, almost like a sigh of approval. It had witnessed humans at their finest, adapting to disaster, surviving alien environments, and forming bonds that strengthened both hearts and minds. Days later, Aiden and Leora returned to Earth aboard the mother ship. News of their survival spread quickly through the fleet and the terraforming division. Scientists, engineers, and explorers marveled at their ingenuity, their ability to improvise, and their courage. They didn't just survive, one report read. They adapted, they explored, and they demonstrated the true strength of humanity, a testament to human ingenuity, resourcefulness, and heart. Aiden and Leora were debriefed extensively. They shared every detail of the crash, the moon, the alien life, the meteor threat, and the improvised signal. Every word highlighted human creativity, intelligence, and courage. After the debrief, they found a quiet moment alone. "We've shown them," Aiden said softly. "Humans can endure anything. We can adapt, we can survive, we can shine." Leora smiled, resting her hand against his. "And we've proven it not just to them, but to ourselves, to each other." The AI module, now fully integrated into the mother ship systems, continued to hum softly. Its data and recordings would inform countless future missions. But more importantly, it had recorded a fundamental truth. Humanity's strength lay in ingenuity, resilience, and connection. Aiden looked out the viewport, the familiar blue planet of Earth growing larger with every moment. "Home," he whispered. "We made it home." "Yes," Leora said, squeezing his hand gently. "Home and stronger than ever. Humanity shines even in the darkest places, and we shine together." As the mother ship entered Earth's orbit, the crew prepared for landing. But Aiden and Leora stayed for a moment, side by side, taking in the stars, the universe, and the incredible journey they had shared. They had faced a crash, survived on a hostile moon, navigated alien life, and created a signal that reached across space. And through it all, they had discovered the extraordinary power of humans: courage, intelligence, and heart. The shuttle descended toward the planet, the sun rising over oceans and forests, painting the world in gold and silver. Aiden and Leora knew the universe was still vast, still filled with unknowns. But for now, they had survived, adapted, and proven that humanity, small, fragile, and remarkable, could endure and shine against any challenge. And most importantly, they had discovered that the greatest strength of all was human connection, the courage to trust, to care, and to face the unknown together. In that moment, on the threshold of home, Aiden and Leora smiled at each other, knowing that whatever challenges awaited, humanity would continue to endure, to explore, and to shine.